In this next session, we will run our first TCP GoodPut test. The point being, if you are interested in TCP performance, you want to go to the application suites and choose the TCP GoodPut test. You do not want to run a throughput test using TCP traffic. When you're ready to evaluate the product that you are testing for TCP performance, use the TCP GoodPut test. TCP GoodPut test is set up in a very similar manner to all the other applications we've run thus far, remembering that the port information and the client information doesn't change from one test to the next. So notice that our Wi-Fi client is still set up to be an 802.11ac client. Now the TCP GoodPut properties, I'm going to increase this out to a little bit longer. We're generating the report. TCP GoodPut properties setup is pretty simple. On the TCP GoodPut test, you can set up one or more maximum segment size, create a list, these are the defaults, and then set up the number of sessions per client that you would like in the TCP window. Now, a couple of items about this test. Frequently, folks will be making TCP GoodPut measurements and they'll compare it to Chariot or iPerf or other tools that they have. The thing that you want to be aware of is that on any device that you're running, the TCP stack runs a little bit differently. How often the TCP stack gets serviced by the OS can change things, and the number of sessions that you're running can change things. So when you are comparing numbers between VeraWave run test and other test methodologies you may have, make sure that you set the TCP window to a comparable number and that you've set up the number of sessions per client similarly. It's not unusual for folks to run this as a default test, get a lower TCP GoodPut number, but find that when they're running a TCP GoodPut test across other devices, using laptops and things of that nature, for example on iPerf, that the number of TCP sessions may be 4 or 8 per client, and that'll make a difference. So make things match. So here we have things set up just basically default. In this case, we can run wireless to Ethernet or Ethernet to wireless. We cannot run this in a bidirectional mode. So let's run wireless to Ethernet. When we press the green button, simply what happens is the same thing that always happens in the applications where we check the firmware versions, we populate the BSSID list, we create and connect the clients, ARP through to make sure that everything is alive from one end to the other. Then this one sets up a TCP connect, tears it down, reconnects it, and then runs the test by putting an intended load on and then checking what the forwarding rate ended up being. That completed the first segment size. Now it's going on and doing the second segment size. So what we're really doing here is running a steady state stream of traffic, TCP, from one end to the other. And what we're able to do now is get an idea of how well the device under test deals with TCP traffic. Now we get a report, just like we have in the past. And here we see TCP GoodPut. The blue line is theoretical max. And here's what was min, max, and average TCP GoodPut seen in the two sizes. And this gives us a configuration that we were running upstream. So now if we want to add more clients or add more sessions per client, those are all adjustments we can make. But that's how a TCP GoodPut test is run. It's very simple, very straightforward, and you then end up getting your TCP GoodPut results. While we're in this test, I will mention one other thing that you may have noticed over here on the right-hand side that is available in a variety of the different applications. On the report, we always have the blue line, which is the theoretical max for the medium capacity per the IEEE spec for the type of client and the type of traffic being run. Now, there are folks in the customer base who would maybe prefer to put a different blue line there. That's fine. If you want to have a different blue line, higher or lower, whatever you want, you can come in here and specify for the frame size what the medium capacity should be reported on the PDF report. This way, if you feel that there is some reason that you don't want to be compared to theory, then you can change that blue line and make the blue line appropriate for you to make it display what you think your what your goal line is. So it just gives you the ability to establish your own goal for the blue line. It defaults to auto. So that ends the running of TCP traffic. Again, don't run throughput test. When you're using TCP traffic, use the TCP GoodPut test.